Hello everyone and welcome back to Neptune's Child Tarot. My name is Monique, and if this is your first time clicking on one of my videos, welcome to the channel. This is my second tarot channel here on YouTube. My main tarot channel is Moon Moth Goddess, which if this reading does resonate for you today, I'd encourage you to check out my other channel as well. I do have tons of other pick a card readings on that channel that you guys can go through the playlist. I do, for the most part, have love readings over there. However, I've had that channel for over 3 years. So I do have readings that are of all different subjects that you guys might be interested in as well. So for today's pick a card reading, our topic is, what do you need to change in order to improve things? Okay, something maybe that you're wanting to improve in your life. Like if you're wanting to improve maybe your healing or your career, something that you have going on your spiritual path, maybe something where you feel like some type of blockage and you know that something has to change, but you're just not sure what. Like, what can I do? What can I do to change things? So what do you need to change in order to improve things, right, within your life? So we are going to be doing 3 different piles today. I do have crystals out for you guys. However, we are going to be pulling the Oracle and Tarot cards on camera. If you already feel drawn to one of the crystals, you can find the timestamp down below and you can jump straight ahead to the reading. But for those of you that like to watch that process of me putting the piles together and taking a look at the pile with the crystal on top of it, I will also have a timestamp for that as well. Okay, so pile number 1, you are going to be this flower agate. So what do you need to change in order to improve things in your life? Pile number 1, flower agate. And then pile number 2, you are going to be the garden quartz. For pile number 2, garden quartz. And then pile number 3, you are going to be this polychrome or desert jasper. For pile number 3. Okay, so timestamps will be down below for those of you that like to watch me put the piles together, or even if you want to see it already put together so you have a better look at the pile with the crystal on top of it. You can click that timestamp as well, and then you can find the timestamp for your reading. So let's get into shuffling and putting these piles together. Okay, so what do you need to change in order to improve upon things? We are going to start with our tarot first, and today I am using what is this? The Anima Mundi Tarot. Okay, I did purchase this on Etsy. And then we are also going to use the Hobbit Tarot. And that you can find on Amazon. Okay, so let's see. So we're going to start off just kind of shuffling through. We're going to actually pull 3 cards from this one here, and then we'll pull 2 from the Hobbit. So pile 1, let's look at pile 1 first. What does pile 1 need to change in order to improve things in their life? What does pile 1 need to change in order to improve things in their life? So there's 1. We have 2. What does pile 1 need to change in order to improve things in their life? Okay, so let's just take this one here. Well, maybe I guess we're going to take both of them. Okay, so then that means we'll only draw 1 from the Hobbit. So So pile 2. What does pile 2 need to change in order to improve things? What does pile 2 need to change in order to improve things? Okay, and then let's do pile 3 with the polychrome jasper or desert jasper. What does pile 3 need to change in order to improve things in their life? Okay, and then let's go into the Hobbit. We're just going to use one for this one. So pile 1 with the flower agate. What does pile 1 need to change in order to improve things in their life? Okay, so then we'll do 2 for the garden quartz. What does pile 2 need to change in order to improve things in their life? And then pile number 3 with the desert jasper. Okay, so tarot is all set. Let's pull one of these here, and this one, which one is this one? The Woodland Wardens Oracle, and that one you can also find on Amazon. Pile 1. What does pile 1 need to change in order to improve things in their life? Pile 2. And then pile number 3. Okay. And then we're going to pull one of these, and this one is the Guidance of the Goddess Oracle. Guidance of the Goddess Oracle. So pile 1. What does pile 1 need to change in order to improve things in their life? Right? So these can even maybe be things that we need to change within ourselves. Maybe our way of thinking. You know, maybe it's our environment or friendship, relationship, something that's going on that we need to maybe work on. Let's see. Or, you know, be aware of. Pile 2. What does pile 2 need to change in order to improve things in their life? And then pile 3. I don't know why, but I look at this and it always reminds me of Starbucks when I look at it. Let's see. Okay, so now we're going to go into the angels and ancestors, but I also have it mixed. What is the deck that I have it mixed with? Wisdom of Avalon. I mixed the two of them together. Wisdom of Avalon. I actually saw Lizzie from Mystic Star Magic. She's actually one of my friends, my tarot friends. And I saw her mix her two like this, so I had to do it because I thought it was really cool. So she mixed them together. So that's what we're using today. So we're going to pull 2 cards from this. What does pile 1 need to change in order to improve things? So there is 1. What does pile 1 need to change in order to improve things? And then pile 2. What does pile 2 need to change in order to improve things in their life? And then pile number 3. Okay, and then we're going to do one of these, and this is actually, what is this? The Shaman, the Oracle, Mystical Shaman Oracle. That's what this one is, Mystical Shaman Oracle. So pile 1, what does pile number 1 need to change in order to improve things in their life? Okay. So pile 2. And then pile number 3. Okay, and then the 2 little decks that we have left are going to be the 2 of the mini decks. One of them is the Forest Fae, and then this one here is the Whispering Woods. Okay, so let's see, pile 1. What is pile 1's guidance, advice, messages on improving things within their life? Pile 2's guidance, advice on improving things in their life. And then pile 3's. Okay, and then the Whispering Woods. Pile 1. Oops. Pile 1's guidance, advice on improving things within their life. Pile 2's guidance, and then pile 3's. Okay, so let's get these together here. And I'm actually just going to check really quick, you guys, just to make sure that we're good, because one of the decks, I think it's actually the Hobbit deck, that has a little bit of nudity in it. Okay, so we're good with pile 1. No post-it notes for this pile. Let's see. Just put them like that, and then pile 2. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to check pile 2's tarot really quick, just to make sure I don't have to edit later. Okay, that one's fine. And then pile 3's. I'm going to put those. I'm just going to check. And there's one of them I'm not sure about, and that is this one right here. So we'll put a little one on that one. For pile 3. And then questionable. And I don't want questionable. I want to feel like my mind is like at ease and not stressing out about it. Okay. So okay, so pile number 1, this is going to be your pile here with the flower agate. Pile number 2, this is going to be your pile with the garden quartz. And then pile number 3, this is going to be yours with the desert jasper. Timestamps will be down below for you guys, and I will see you at your reading. Hi, Pile 1. So those of you that resonated with the flower agate, this is going to be your reading today. We're going to save these for the end. Let's take a look at your tarot. And you guys actually had 4 of the Anima Mundi that came out for you. Okay, so we're starting off with the Hierophant. We also have the 6 of Swords. We have the Knight of Wands. The 9 of Cups. Okay, and then you also have the 4 of Cups. Okay. So, I can already see where this is going with that 4 of Cups energy. Okay, so let's kind of get your other cards out here. But so far we have Cancer energy. Here we have strong Taurus, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We also have Pisces and Aquarius. Okay, so let's see what else. We have the Witness. Just to make sure. Okay, we have Star Ancestor. It says follow the voice of your soul. That one's fine. We've got the King. It says man, authority, male, sexual energy, things pertaining to the law and justice. So I'm already kind of seeing where this is going with definitely a need for, I feel like stepping into the masculine energy for sure. But we'll see what else. That one's good. Okay, so we have Kuan Yin with compassion. And then we also have the Bobcat and Blackthorn with patience, which is something that we sometimes can struggle with, is learning to be patient with things. But yeah, what I'm kind of seeing here, especially with your tarot here, you have the 4 of Cups. And that, I feel like, can sometimes be when we are feeling very indifferent towards things that are kind of happening in our life. We're feeling some type of discontent within ourselves. And sometimes it could be about us thinking about things from the past. The 4 of Cups is also boredom. Okay, boredom, indifference, feeling discontent. We can be feeling a little bit out of balance, a little bit of emotional instability that is kind of happening within us. So the 4 of Cups energy can really kind of put us in a place where we are feeling sorry for ourselves. And, the 4 of Cups, if you look and think about somebody who's kind of having like a pity party for themselves, right? Sometimes the 4 of Cups can be when we have a blind spot. There's something that we're not seeing, right? The Spirit is trying to really help us with, assist us with. And so that 4 of Cups can be when we kind of are only focused on maybe say like things not going our way or not really getting what we want. We didn't get what we asked for. It's not, exactly the way that we had envisioned. And so we can get a little bit bummed about that. And it could be that Spirit is saying, let's look at what you do have, right? I'm also seeing the 9 of Cups here too. The 9 of Cups can be about wishes being fulfilled and about happiness and fulfillment and satisfaction, but it's also a need for us to have more gratitude, right? For what we do have at present, because like I said, that 4 of Cups, it could be that there are certain offers or opportunities that Spirit is kind of bringing into our life that are important, right? They could be important tools for us to take with us moving forward. And so sometimes we can kind of shut out those opportunities because they're not exactly what we envisioned. They're not exactly what we asked for. They're not what we wanted. Like if you say, like I want a specific car and I want it to be this color and I want it to be like around this price. And then you pass by a car dealership and you see the car, it's the price that you wanted, but it's the wrong color. It's not the color you wanted. However, it's possible like this dealership is going to give you the approval for it, and then you decide, you know what, I'm not going to take it because it's not the color that I want. It's not the color that I asked for, right? If I'm going to pay that much money, I want it to look like this and like this and like that. And so, you know, you miss out. You know, you could miss out on the opportunity. That's what the Four of Cups is also about. Missed opportunities, because we have a blind spot. There's something that we're not seeing about that situation. So, you know, you go to another dealership and you find the car that you want. It's exactly the car that you asked for, but it's, let's just say, 10 grand more, $10,000 more than what you had planned to pay. And now you're just like, oh no, you know, maybe I should have taken that car that was at the other dealership, and it was cheaper, it was more affordable for me, and I get to have the car that I want. So you decide to go back to the other dealership, and guess what? It's gone. Your car is gone. And now somebody else is driving around in it with a good deal, the color, you know, and you missed out, right? Because of that type of energy. So sometimes that's like the Four of Cups energy, is like when we're just basically feeling, you know, that way, we're not seeing things there, we have a blind spot, generally just feeling some type of discontent in our life, right? Pity party for ourselves, or we're bored, we want something more, we want fulfillment, we want change, but we have to keep ourselves open to those opportunities that Spirit does bring for us, right? Different doorways, pathways, you know, pay attention to people that are kind of coming into our life, that maybe even be delivering messages in some way from spirits. We have to kind of be open completely to those things. The other thing that I'm noticing here is that you do have the Hierophant and the Six of Swords, okay? The Hierophant is about tradition. It's about our values, our beliefs, our sometimes self-limiting beliefs, right? That we really need to kind of take a look at. The Hierophant is about higher wisdom, knowledge that is being gained through practical experiences and things that we're kind of going through, right? It's a lot of those values and beliefs that are shaped by culture, by religion, by, you know, family values and traditions and things like that. So at times, those beliefs that we carry and that we hold from being raised in our household, or certain beliefs that our family has had, that they kind of raise us with, right? So that may become our belief that we have as we're growing up. And then those viewpoints can then at a certain point in our life become challenged, because we may feel like, do I really kind of fit into this box? Do I fit into this mold of what my grandmother felt, or what my mom felt, or dad, you know? And how can I move away from those types of beliefs that are holding me back or blocking me from being able to feel fulfilled in life, rather than sitting in that Four of Cups energy where I feel completely unhappy with my life, right? Or feeling that type of energy. So with the Six of Swords coming in after that, to me, it's going to be a need for you to move away from, first off, any self-sabotaging types of thoughts, right? Also noticing when you're in your Four of Cups energy, my husband and actually make fun of each other. Sometimes we get into little things. He doesn't really know tarot. He just hears me when I talk about it sometimes, and I tell him stop being a Four of Cups. Um, you know, but yeah, it's just this whole vibe that we hold on to at times when we're not feeling too happy, but it's like we're shutting out the whole world. We're just sitting there by ourselves, not feeling good, not feeling happy, not feeling fulfilled, wanting fulfillment, but then maybe not really doing anything to change it, right? And so that Six of Swords, to me, is going to be about you working towards moving away from any type of thoughts, communication, even if it's internal, right? The way that you communicate with yourself. That can also have an impact on our mind and our ability to be able to recognize when we are in our little Four of Cups type of mood, and how to pull ourselves out of it. right? Because sometimes it can, because the Four of Cups is leading into the Five of Cups, within the tarot. So we're already feeling those emotions that are on their way to us feeling a sense of disappointment and loss. It's kind of like going down the downhill with our emotions and feelings. And so there's always a way for us to be able to pull ourselves out of that energy, and a need for paying attention to our surroundings, to the signs, to the synchronicities, to the dreams, to the way in which spirit comes into our life to bring us something new, right? We can feel that we have missed out on an opportunity, and it could be there is a reason for it, right? Maybe there's a reason something didn't work out, and we have to just be open to taking what does come to us if it feels right. Okay, if it feels right. I'm not saying to just kind of go out and do whatever and not take some time to think about it. Do what feels right, right? If there's something that comes up as an opportunity that could lead to something more, that could even be, say, like with a job where you are really looking for a specific position at a company and you think, you know what, I don't want any other job. This is the only place I want to work at. And same thing, you decide there's another position that's being offered. It's not the company that you want, but they have a competitive salary. They have better benefits, but you're saying, oh no, I just want to work at this place, right? So you miss out on that opportunity that you could have with being able to really kind of move up in that company, all because it wasn't what you wanted. Four of Cups, right? So yeah, just kind of keep that in mind moving forward. If you notice that you're kind of sinking into that type of energy, to really kind of be aware of it and pull yourself out of it, to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should keep my eyes open, right? My ears and eyes open to my surroundings and pay attention, right? So that Six of Swords is going to be moving away from any types of thoughts and things that are creating, I feel like, any type of chaotic or stressful type of energy surrounding you. Okay. It could even be certain situations that you're needing to kind of remove yourself from. It's a need for making alternate plans, a need for moving away from something that is just not working. And sometimes with the Hierophant being here, that is going to be certain beliefs that we have, certain self-limiting beliefs that we carry that we're needing to move away from. Okay. And then you also have this Knight of Wands energy here too. And the Knight of Wands is full of passion. I'm also noticing that it is a rabbit. And rabbits are a symbol of fertility. So in this way, I feel like if you are kind of feeling unhappy with whatever situation this is that you're in, it's basically Spirit saying, if you want change, create the change, right? You be the change that you want to see with that Knight of Wands energy. And also the Hierophant, because it's about knowledge and wisdom that's gained through our life experience. We learn from the past, right? We learn. Let's just say that last year you did that. You missed out on a job opportunity because you delayed. You didn't trust your intuition. So you learn with your Hierophant energy, you know what? I'm not going to allow my self-limiting beliefs or any of these other thoughts that are kind of sticking in my mind to hold me back from taking those opportunities that are available to me. Even if they're the wrong ones, they end up to be, say, like the wrong choice for a class that you took, or even if you start college, university, and you start pursuing some type of degree and you're a couple classes in and you realize, I don't like this. I don't want this. This doesn't work for me. Don't feel bad. Okay. Don't feel bad at all. I know that maybe some of you that are new to the channel, I am, which I'm sure you probably read in my little bio, that I graduated in 2013 with my degree in registered nursing. And then I worked, and then one day I was just like, no, this isn't it. This isn't it. This is not what I want. I was still very much into that healer type of helping people type of energy, but look what I'm doing now. It's still, being able to help people, to heal, and to, things like that, but it's different, right? So, you just kind of find yourself in a different place. So you go with wherever the universe is kind of guiding you at this time. But yeah, I'm seeing Knight of Wands. This is to me an energy of action, of pursuing your passions. The Knight of Wands, I really think of it as a kind of like this energetic energy of not being afraid to go after what it is that you truly want in life, and just kind of allowing that fire to kind of be lit within you to create the change that you're truly wanting to see within your life, so that you are basically making things come true for yourself. With that Nine of Cups, you are kind of feeling happy. And again, like I said, Nine of Cups, gratitude, right? Feeling grateful for the things that we do have and not overlooking them, right? Not overlooking the things that we do have and how much we've already kind of accomplished. This is about us having courage and about being idealistic about things, taking action towards them, moving quickly is another thing, right? To get things done. And that's where I feel like with the King energy here, man, authority, male sexual energy, things pertaining to the law, justice. To me, this is kind of like the emperor energy in the tarot, right? Where you are focused, you're disciplined, you're committed, you're organized, you're using your strategy, planning, what decisions you're going to make, right? So this is basically Spirit telling you here, in order for you to create the change, to improve things upon your life, you have to take action, right? And then you have follow the voice of your soul. Following the voice of your soul is your intuition, right? Learning to trust what your intuition is telling you, because Spirit is going to come in with that Four of Cups energy to show you that there are other potential possibilities that are available to you. We just have to keep ourselves open to them, right? It could be that with the Four of Cups energy, this is a need for us to move away from distractions, right? Because the Four of Cups, we can be very distracted. We can feel, like I said, disappointed. We can be closed off to our emotions, right? A little bit shut down, a little bit out of balance, where we're not able to kind of pick up on those intuitive messages from Spirit, okay? So it is a need for us to think outside the box, be open to stepping outside of our comfort zone in order to create and make those dreams come true that we do have. And that requires us to completely go within the self, which means taking some time, some quiet time away from social media, away from people. Even if it's something that you do, like if you're sitting in the bathtub or you're taking a shower, or you're combing your hair, or you're getting dressed, it's just kind of like allowing your mind to kind of go blank and just focus on what you're feeling internally. It's a need for us to really broaden our horizons. Like I said, being open to stepping away from things that are distracting us off of our path, whether it is learning to say no, right, to people that are saying, hey, do you want to do this, this, and that? And we already have enough on our plate, and learning to, say no, thank you. I'm kind of doing this today, working on something else. But you taking that time to give back to you, to really look within yourself and see, what is my soul calling me to do, right? We're listening to intuition here. Okay, so this Four of Cups is about that need for us to claim, right? Claim what it is that we want and put forth that energy, that action, that firepower, explosive energy with that Knight of Wands, and take action here with the energy of the King. Okay, also you have the Bobcat and the Blackthorn with patience. Okay, and this is something that we can all at one time or another struggle with within our life. And it is just learning that as we are going through this process of working towards certain things, we have to be patient, right? Things are not going to take shape and develop into, building our empire overnight. These are things that do take time, okay? So you also have Guanyin with compassion here. And to me, this is a lot of the feminine energy. This is a lot of nurturing the self, okay? It can be holding even compassion towards other people, especially, let's just say, because all of you that are watching this reading are going to be having something in your mind that is very different. For some of you, it can be improving friendships in your life. It could be improving family situations. It could be improving your career mindset. It can be improving your relationship with money. Maybe you're healing. Whatever it is, this is a need for compassion, a need for nurturing, a need for love, a need for, let's just say you're having difficulties with a family member, right? And you recognize that maybe there are some wounds within you, you're healing, they're healing. It can be a need for us to hold that compassion towards ourselves as we are going through the process, and maybe even hold compassion towards another person, right? Because we all have our own stuff that we need to work through. A lot of us have wounded inner childs, and even as an adult, we can be projecting a lot of that energy towards someone else, right? Which may have nothing to do with that person, but it's things that we have that are unresolved within ourselves. So yes, the Guanyin energy is about compassion, love. To me, I'm seeing this as the feminine and also the masculine, right? And so to me, it's also about you really working towards getting those energies to kind of work together within that. And the Hierophant, yeah, we see him with two little keys here, and that key is the knowledge. It is the wisdom, right? So learning from your past, right? Choices, decisions, where they've led you. Also, like I said, moving away from distractions, anything that is kind of throwing you out of balance, right? If you're in a situation that is very safe, very stressful, chaotic, that Six of Swords would be you moving into a more calming, peaceful type of surroundings, energy, right? Let's just say it's in your household, and your household is noisy and it's stressing you out and it's making you feel sad and all kinds of other things. That could be a need for you to maybe create a little space for yourself inside the house to just have some quiet time. Or even like if you're living with family, let family know, this is my time. I want to be left alone for 20 minutes and I just need some time to de-stress. I need some time to gather my thoughts, so that you are able to really listen to what your soul, right, is really calling you to do at this time. So you have card number 64 here with the Witness. This is the Mystical Shaman Oracle. So I'm going to see what this message is about, and we'll see how that is fitting into your reading today. So 60, 64. One more. Okay. So it says, the witness observes without engaging in any action. By cultivating inner stillness, we are able to assess any situation from a higher perspective and make better decisions. When we can be present for someone else's difficulties with stillness, then we are able to truly hear them and give better advice. Sometimes we can be so still, we are a mirror for the other. Then through our presence, they receive their own answers. Okay? So this almost makes me feel like for some of you, you could be dealing with the situations with that Six of Swords, which could potentially be involving other people, conflict, challenges, maybe even a feeling of defeat that you might have. And sometimes that conflict and things could be involving other people. And if it does, maybe this is, like I said, taking that approach from a place of compassion, of understanding that we can try and look within ourselves to find a better way of being able to communicate, or to find happiness and fulfillment in a situation by maybe sharing knowledge, sharing wisdom, because the Hierophant is also very, like I said, very wise teacher. So maybe this is us stepping into that role as serving maybe even as a mentor for another person, or it can even be that we seek out counsel for someone else, whether that is professional help, therapy, counseling, talking to somebody that you look up to can also be an energy with that too. Okay. With the Hierophant, maybe you know somebody who you feel comfortable with trusting, with something there as well. Okay. So what else is this saying? It says the invitation for this card says the witness that has been by your side all along is now ready to become your ally. You thought you were the doer, but today you discover that things happen when you get out of the way. Witness creation unfolding before you, change reality by finding stillness and letting your true intent reveal itself. Okay, so yeah, a huge part of this, I feel like, in order to change things, to improve it, is that need for reflection, is that need for going within, get the distractions away, take some time, right, to listen to what your soul is saying so that you're then able to step into and spring into action like this rabbit. And the strategy, the focus, the planning, right? But first, it's kind of like you're needing to kind of nurture whatever these ideas might be so that you can step into that Nine of Cups energy to feel satisfied, to feel fulfilled, right? Nothing changes unless we create that change. And so it does require us to just kind of sit still, like these cards are saying, stillness. So we're able to kind of look within, okay? So let's look at your two little advice messages here. You have keep going. It says trust in yourself. You have all you need. Okay, so keep going as one of your messages. And we have clearing here. It says make room for growth. Okay, so there's something else, that Spirit's saying here you might be needing to clear. Let's actually see if Spirit can give us a little bit more on that. What is pile 1 needing to clear to make room for growth? It could be clutter, right? Distractions, anything that's in your life right now that you probably know what it is that you need to clear away. What is pile 1 needing to clear in their life? Things that don't resonate anymore, right? Things that are no longer in alignment, letting them go to make room for something better. You have the Wheel of Fortune. The Moon. Okay. Okay, so one of the things that I am seeing here is doubt. Doubt, fears, insecurities. For some of you, it can even really be deep diving into your shadow and digging up some of those suppressed feelings and emotions that are needing to come to the surface for you to be able to shed light on and heal them. Okay. Let's see. Also with the Wheel of Fortune here, I'm seeing this as any types of karmic cycles, patterns of behaviors that you've had, a need for clearing those there as well. The Moon can also bring in a lot of clouded judgment, right? Foggy intuition. There it is right there. 5 of Swords. Okay. 5 of Swords, 6 of Swords. That is the self-sabotaging thoughts. Okay. That is the feeling of defeat. When something is not kind of going our way, we step into our 4 of Cups, pity party, sad, discontent, bored. There is a need for us to move beyond, right? Because I feel like this is also Spirit saying here, maybe there is, for some of you, a pattern of behavior, a karmic cycle that you may have been stuck in, because the Moon is our subconscious mind. Subconsciously, you have this 5 of Swords energy, okay? And I feel like bringing awareness to it, right? When you're doing it, when you feel that subconscious self-limiting belief or negative thought kind of pop in your mind about not being able to change something, stop yourself. Like, be aware when that happens. Why is it happening? Why does my energy feel like this? There is a need for grounding, right? A need for us to really kind of, maybe we are super stressed out. And when we get super stressed out, we can revert back into old patterns of behavior, old ways of thinking, letting the doubts creep in, letting the anxiety creep in, right? Where we doubt ourselves, right? So this to me is kind of looking into maybe even a little bit deeper of where these maybe insecurities or fears, irrational fears that we have, self-sabotaging thoughts, where are they coming from? Are they coming from something from childhood? Are they coming from some shadow aspect of ourselves that has been triggered by something that's in our environment, right? Another person. So how can we change that way of thinking? If you are someone who's around a bunch of people, or even people who are, I feel like, just not bringing in good energy, that because that 5 of Swords can be sometimes a lot of not so great conflict energy with others. Remove yourself from the situation, okay? With that 6 of Swords, That is about you moving yourself to a place that is promoting the peace, the balance, the harmony that you can find within the self, right? You can change it, right? So in order to make room for change and keep going, right, we have to clear out the clutter. We have to clear out this energy here that is not in alignment with us, right? If that means that we have to make some big changes in our life, it requires strategy, it requires planning, it requires listening to what our soul is really telling us to do, okay? And to feel confident in doing so. And, you know, taking that, like I said, the wisdom, the knowledge that we've already gained from those experiences that we've had, and applying new beliefs that are supportive of the authentic self in which we are becoming, that we are in alignment with, in order to feel fulfilled, happy, so that we're pulling ourselves out of that Four of Cups. Okay, that too, a change that doesn't happen overnight. This takes work, right? To move away from that way of thinking, because like I said, we can go right back into it if that's what we've always done, is we've always thought negative, we've always thought self-sabotaging, and we find it hard for us to break out because our mind may automatically go into the negative, right? The anxiety, the fears, the doubts, the uncertainty, the fear of the unknown, right? So it's a need for us to learn to trust, to be patient, and to just follow what our intuition is guiding us to do, so that we can be open to creating change to improve our life, but be open to it when Spirit is bringing in those opportunities, right? Don't disregard them and push them away because they're not the right color, or they're not the right shape, or they're not exactly what we asked for, right? Be open to trying it. If it doesn't work, I assure you there will be something else that comes along, right? If something's not working out, there's a reason for it. Another door, right? That's open for us. So we have to be open to that. But this is Spirit saying, keep going, trust in yourself. You have all that you need, right? In order to create the change to improve things within your life. Okay? So I'm going to leave it here for you. Pile number 1. I hope this was helpful for you, and I will see you guys in the next reading. Hi, Pile 2. So those of you that resonated with the Garden Quartz, this is going to be a reading today. We are going to save your little messages, your guidance for right at the end of your reading. And let's actually look at your tarot first. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands. We have the Five of Wands. You have the Three of Wands. Lots of Wands energy. Six of Pentacles. And then you also have the Devil. Okay. The Devil. Okay, so let's take a look at your oracle that are here as well. I just want to make sure they're all okay so I don't have to do any editing. One of them, it might be a little bit questionable, which is this one here. I didn't see that one earlier during the... Okay. Okay, so beautiful. We have the Owl. We have Lady with enjoy growth and reap rewards. We also have the High Priest with intend and create. We have Lada with awakening. And then we have the Skunk and Magnolia with protection. Okay, so what do you need to change in order to improve things within your life? Now, the first thing that is super stand out to me is the major arcana here, which is the Devil. Okay, the Devil can be a lot of doubts, fears, insecurities. The Devil is kind of like this energy of that is very restrictive, right? It can be codependency, attachment, addictions, manipulation, control, and this could be something that is outside of you that is making you feel that way, or it can even be things that we do to ourselves. Okay. The devil can definitely talk about self-limiting beliefs that keep us stuck, that keep us trapped in a place of fear or even doubt. Certain patterns of behavior, right? Unhealthy patterns of behavior that we might have that we need to kind of really get under control. The devil is also our shadow side. It is our ego, right? And sometimes the ego can take over and kind of override, in a way, the intuition, right? The soul's desires versus going along with the devil, which is the ego's desires, right? So that can definitely, if you look at this guy here, what you can see from him, I had to cover him up a little bit. But he kind of looks like he's crouched down and there's these chains that are just kind of like holding him down. So it's definitely an energy of oppression, right? Something that is keeping us stuck, and unable to move forward, unable to progress, right? And what I'm seeing here is because you also have the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands energy can be about conflict, and that conflict can be something that is outside of you. It can also be something that is being felt internally. The Five of Wands can also talk about changes, right? A need for changes. It could be conflicting ideas that we have, viewpoints, even if it involves other people. The Five of Wands is also a very competitive energy, meaning that in order for us to change, we have to really put forth that energy of creating that change, planning ahead, because I'm also seeing that you have the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is about foresight. It is about thinking about the future, looking to the future, strategy, planning, kind of, putting things together. And I feel like because you do have the High Priest here, if you look at him, the way that he's kind of holding his wand out, and it says intend and create, right? So we're setting a certain intention. Even this, the Ace of Wands here, the way that he's kind of holding his wand, it already looks like it's lit on both ends, fire. And the Ace of Wands is about an idea. It's about inspiration, passion, something that has potential, right? For us. So the Six of Pentacles is about putting in work. It's about dedicating ourselves, committing ourselves, and knowing that if we continue to work towards something, that we are going to reap the rewards. And right underneath that, we've got the lady. Look at that. Enjoy growth and reap the rewards. But in order for us to continue to have that, we have to, I feel like, protect our ideas. Okay, for some of you, protect your ideas. Set your intentions here, right? We have awakening here. So to me, this awakening can also be maybe realizations, epiphanies that you might have about a need for changing certain things, certain patterns of behavior that you might have. The Six of Pentacles is also the equal give and take, right? We put out energy, we receive something back from the universe. So we have to really commit ourselves to putting in that type of work and understand that the ideas, the things that inspire us, the passions that we have in life, that we should be open to following and pursuing those. Now, breaking out of that devil energy is can take work. It's not something that's easy, because that can really be something that we've kept ourselves in for a lot of our life, right? So it can be hard for us to kind of break those chains that are restricting us, those chains being symbolic of maybe thoughts that we have, insecurities, fears, that are keeping us kind of stuck in that place. Okay. What else am I seeing here? I feel like I want to clarify your Five of Wands and your devil energy here. So let's see. Why is the Five of Wands here? We do have Capricorn, Taurus, Aries, Leo. Why is the Five of Wands here? The Fool. Okay. So the Fool energy is going to be about you stepping outside of your comfort zone, taking a risk, taking a leap of faith. Okay. The Fool requires us to really open ourselves to new possibilities, right? Which does require a huge risk at times, right? Especially with that Ace of Wands, if that is symbolic for something that you are passionate about, something that you want to work towards. It requires us to be the fool, right? To take that leap of faith into the unknown, the uncertainty, getting comfortable with that. Because in order for us to create change, to improve things upon our life, it requires us to make different choices, right? We can't always do what we've always done and expect different results. We have to change it up. Okay? Change it up. Let's see. Why is the Five of Wands here? We have Aquarius energy. We've got the Five of Swords. Okay, so Five of Wands and Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is self-sabotaging thoughts, a feeling of defeat, you know, conflict that we're feeling within us. We feel like we're losing something, right? So it's a need, I feel like, for changing also maybe our attitude about something, our outlook, our perception about something, right? And really start to shift into the energy of the Fool, where we can just kind of not allow those fears to hold us back. It's about us just being open to taking risks in life. Let's see. Why is the Five of Wands here? Wow, you guys have 3 fives here. The Five of Pentacles is also this energy of despair, a feeling of lack, a scarcity mindset, lack mentality, right? Let's just say, because you have the Five of Pentacles here, let's say that you're struggling with money right now. You feel like, or you're out of a job, right? That Five of Pentacles can be when we are feeling despair, right? We're feeling despair. We're worried about where we're going to have money for food. We're going to have money for shelter. We're going, you know, if things are really bad, right? And I feel like because you also have the Six of Pentacles energy here too, this is also Spirit saying, don't be afraid to ask for help, right? Don't be afraid to ask for help. But this doesn't mean that we just sit back and ask for help and we become codependent, right, on that. We actually have to put in work. We have to, like I said, be open to taking risks in life. There could be certain ideas, things that Spirit is kind of guiding to you that have potential for you to create growth, for you to create something for yourself to help. Maybe for some of you, bring in more abundance, the flow of abundance, right? But if we keep ourselves stuck in that Five of Pentacles energy, the feeling of lack, always lack, poverty mindset with the Five of Pentacles, right? A feeling that we are without and we cannot do anything about it. That is a need for us to break free from that way of thinking and keep ourselves optimistic, open, like the Fool is, right? So let's see what this Devil energy is here. Right? Healing mindset. Let's see. Devil energy. Why is the Devil here? Wheel of Fortune. Right? Some of you may have been keeping yourself stuck in the same karmic cycle over and over again, maybe with a very challenged mindset. Right? Feeling of defeat, conflict, challenge. Maybe afraid to make changes in your life, right? Because you're doing what you've always done. Same results. Let's see, why is the Devil here? The Chariot. Look at this. This is beautiful, okay? The Devil is restrictive energy, right? It holds us back. It keeps us stuck. The Chariot is freedom, okay? The Chariot is our willpower. It is our strength. It is our determination to charge ahead. Right? It is about us balancing out our energy from within. And as I'm saying that, I'm seeing the Magician at the bottom. The Chariot is that driving force within us that stays focused, that stays determined on what it is that we're working towards, right? So we break free of this cycle of the Devil, whatever that Devil is symbolic for you of, whether it's your insecurities, your doubts, your fears, self-limiting beliefs, toxic patterns of behavior, self-sabotaging type of cycle, right, that you kept yourself in. This is you with the Chariot breaking free from that, right? Whatever it is that's restricting you and holding you back, you break yourself out of that cycle with the Chariot, right? All your willpower, all your might, charge ahead, move forward. intend, right? Setting your intention and creating it. We're taking action here. You are the magician. This is basically Spirit telling you here, Pile 2, you have all the tools you need right now to change. And I feel like a lot of this is the mindset, right? With the Five of Swords, Five of Pentacles, this is self-limiting beliefs. I feel like for many of you that chose this, okay? So basically it's changing the mindset in order to improve things, because it is very possible for you to manifest abundance, to manifest whatever this is that you're really working towards in your life, to be able to reap those rewards by putting in the consistent effort, the focus on it, right? You being the magician here, you have every power, and we look at that, we've got the Empress right underneath that. You have every power within yourself to be able to nurture the ideas that you have. For some of you, it can even be working on healing the feminine energy, right? Because that, to me, with the intention and creation is, even though we have the High Priest here, it is the feminine, right, that we're creating here. To me, he's also focused, right? Focusing his intention, putting forth that energy. That's also the energy of masculine to me. So this, to me, with the awakening here, it can be that you are awakening to what, identifying what is holding me back, right? And for many of you, it is that maybe you don't believe in yourself. Maybe you lack confidence in yourself with the Empress energy there, right? Maybe you don't believe in your power to be able to manifest, to change your situation, right? So I feel like, yeah, working towards, first off, identifying, right? When you have that thought that is making you feel like, I can't change this, I can't fix this, right? What is blocking us? Are we procrastinating? That's another thing that's coming up. Are we procrastinating putting in the work, putting in the solid effort, right? Raising up our confidence, maybe, our belief in ourselves, working on our self-esteem, nurturing those ideas, right? But that Chariot, willpower, forging ahead, okay? Setting the intention, focus on it, making it happen, okay? This is Spirit saying here, you have the potential to do so, to manifest, to create whatever it is that you want. The fives here indicate challenges, conflicts, changes that are required, right? It's also a need for us to learn to go with the flow too, because with the Wheel of Fortune is about fate. It's about destiny. It's about karma, and life is unpredictable, right? We go through cycles. We have to have faith that even though we may be going through a difficult time, it does not always have to be that way. We can make different choices to change and improve our situation, but we have to have that willpower within ourselves to say, okay, I know, I realize this is not exactly what I want right now, but does that mean that I should completely give up and just stop doing anything? I can make it through this phase, right? This cycle. It won't always be that way, right? We can manifest change to make it through, and not being afraid, if we need to, with that Six of Pentacles, to ask for help. You also have the little protection here. I almost feel like I want to see what this message says for you guys, because to me it's about protecting these ideas, right? The things could be better protective of your own energy, right? Let's see what it says though. What is that? 21. Okay, there it is. It says, the skunk knows how to shield itself by spraying its foes with a foul odor. Its black and white fur serves as a warning to all would-be assailants. Similarly, the magnolia is known for its large, waxy leaves and copious blooms. Its thick petal flowers are some of the oldest on Earth, having evolved to endure damage from beetles. The upright meaning says you are safe, your boundaries are respected, and your home is intact. Remember that when you are protected, it becomes your duty to protect others. Extend your shelter to those without one. Okay? So, I like that message because you have both the Five of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles here. And the Five of Pentacles is when we are feeling in that energy of despair. We're feeling shut out. We feel like we've been, out in the cold. Literally, could be, like I said, some of you could be really challenged right now, right? Really going through it financially. But the Six of Pentacles is about generosity, kindness. So when we do have, we can give to others, right? And when we are in a place of need, we can also be open to asking other people for help, right? Family members, friends, things of that nature. But we also have to make sure that we are not always taking, right? With the devil energy. We're not always someone who's completely codependent upon other people, because if we are, that's a problem, right? We can have people that don't want to help us anymore because we're constantly asking and asking and asking. And it's a need for us to really kind of step in, set our intentions, and really create solutions for ourselves, right? By changing away and out of that mindset of the energies of the fives within the tarot, right? Five of Pentacles, Five of Swords, Five of Wands. So your other message here, you have card number 39 with the owl, and that is from the Mystical Shaman Oracle. So I want to see what this says for you guys. Okay, so it says, Owl is the master of the night. She can see situations with perfect clarity, more so when it is dark, and is able to discern truth when others are sightless. She helps you find your light and your lightness in the darkest moments of your life, and to embrace the night as your ally. Owl can bring you messages from the invisible world. She opens your ears so that you may hear the voices of the ancestors, and you may acquire their wisdom and make it your own. The invitation for this card says, look around you, notice every detail, and find the hidden messages brought to you by Owl. Do not shoot the messenger. Be grateful to the friend who shows you what you have not wanted to see until now. Observe all the facets of a diamond without judgment. Remember that the facets you dislike are often mirrors of the parts of you that you do not want to recognize. Do not be afraid of the truth, as it will become your compass. Okay? So with this is basically Spirit saying that those of you that are feeling a lot of this very challenged energy at this time and are trying to find a solution to make improvements into your life, but maybe there is a lack of belief in the self, a lack of confidence, a lack of effort, a lack of trying, because maybe for some of you with that devil energy and the Wheel of Fortune, that you've been kind of in this cycle, right? Of feeling like, I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to fix my situation. I don't know how to change this. I don't know how to improve this, right? It all starts with the mindset, I feel like, for many of you. Changing the beliefs, right, about yourself and your ability to have the willpower to move through this energy. So, with the owl being here, Spirit has a way of coming into our life, and we have to be open to the guidance in order for us to change, right? Spirit is going to communicate through many different mediums to get messages through to us. That could be messages from family members. Let's just say you're sitting on your sofa in the house and you have a friend that comes over, even your parent that comes over, and you are feeling super defeated. You're feeling super challenged, right? And you have you're having this feeling of, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm in despair. I don't know how I'm going to change this. And then you have a parent or somebody that comes over, or a child, or your, adult child. And that person tells you, well, hey, why don't you do this? Or why don't you try that? And then because it's your friend or because it's your parent, you don't want to listen, right? You're just like, they don't know what they're talking about. But Spirit is going to have a way of communicating with us through every which way they can. It can be through songs. And I'm gonna give you guys this little thing that happened to me and my husband over the weekend. I have a car. I'll just say I have a car. I don't want to say what kind of car. I have a car, and it's it's like not really a sports car. It's a V8. Okay, I'll just say that. It's a V8. It's like a a cool car. Okay. And it had some issues because it's older. It had some issues, and my husband was fixing it over the weekend. And then we went to go drive it around town, and it started acting funny. It started acting weird. And I was like freaked out because I'm driving. I started freaking out in the car. And when stuff like that happens, I've had a lot of trauma I've had, in car accidents and stuff like that in the past. So I can get very anxious when I'm driving because of the past experiences that I've had. So I get triggered very easily. So the car starts acting weird, and I'm freaking out because I've got people driving behind me, and it feels like one of the cylinders is misfiring. That might be too much information for you guys, but it felt like one of the cylinders was misfiring because of the way that it was shaking. So I pull over into a parking lot, and I'm telling my husband, like, can you please drive? Like, I don't want to drive anymore. I'm like ready to cry. I can't drive this car anymore. I don't want to. So he's like trying to like calm me down, and he's like, you need to stop. Like, what is wrong with you? And then, so right across the street, there was this furniture store. So I was like trying to like get my mind off of it. And I was like, let's just leave the car here. Let's go to the furniture store across the street. So we went inside the furniture store. And as soon as we walked into that song, was it Bob Marley? I think it was a Bob Marley song. And it was the lyrics of the song were like, everything's gonna be all right, or something like that. And it was like my ears just kind of like opened up as soon as I hear that, because as I'm walking through the store and we're there, I'm still like, my heart is still like pounding, right? From what I just went through with the car. So I'm hearing it, everything's gonna be all right, right? So, and I'm just like, this is the way in which spirit communicates with us to let me know it's okay, calm down, girl, your car's gonna be fine. But it's just kind of like the universe will find ways of communicating with us those messages, right? However they're coming through. It's a song, it's a commercial you see on YouTube. It is an animal that you see outside. It could be a person who you meet at a store who's a complete stranger who just says something to you, and it answers or gives you some type of message of clarity from a question that you've had before, right? So as I'm hearing this song, and I'm like, okay, right? I don't have to stress out. The Spirit is delivering this message to me right now through this Bob Marley song, and I can relax. I can calm down. I can stop being in my panic attack mode. But yeah, this is basically Spirit saying here, be open to those messages. They're going to find a way of getting to you, especially when you ask your spirit guides, your ancestors that are going to communicate those messages through to you. Okay, so you just have to be open to them, right? Open to changing your mindset, right? If you just completely shut things down, if somebody's trying to give you advice, or that's kind of like you still continuing to kind of build up that wall and reverting back into that old karmic pattern of behavior, right? We want to step outside of that. We want to move beyond this challenged energy that we're keeping ourselves stuck in, and be open to being the full energy, so that we can keep ourselves open to possibility, to exploring, and the full is, yes, stepping outside of your comfort zone, right? And that can be scary. That can be scary, but there is a need for us to do that in order to create change, right? And be open. If we're asking our spirit guides for help, be open to those messages in all forms, even if it's somebody that's giving you advice and you don't like them and you don't want to hear what they have to say. Doesn't mean you have to follow their advice to a T, but be open to different perspectives, right? Different ways of thinking and looking at things. Okay. So last two messages for you, pal, too. We have the fairy harper, and it says, find the words to long forgotten songs. Wow. And dance to the music in your soul. Okay. So for some of you, music may be something that Spirit is saying that you may have really, it may be, say, very soothing to you. Maybe that's why I had to sing you that song a little bit. Maybe for some of you, music is something that's very healing for you, right? So it says, find the words to long forgotten songs and dance to the music in your soul. So by you dancing, you are also changing and shifting, elevating your vibration. Okay, that is also something to let go a lot of the stuck or stagnant energy. So I love that. You have learn. It says, take a lesson. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Take a lesson from the owls. It says, deeply observe the night and you'll become a little wiser in the day. And this was talking about that too, right? The owl sees in the dark, right? That is super cool. Deeply observe the night. And to me, that night is being symbolic of maybe even for some of you, those darker thoughts that you have, right? The fears, the insecurities. Understand your shadow. Understand those limitations, right? Dive deeper into them. Don't be afraid of doing the shadow work, right? How am I holding myself back? Being honest with yourself, right? When I hold myself back, I do X, Y, Z, right? So I'm going to leave it here for you. Pile number 2. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next reading. Hi, pile 3. So those of you that resonated with the polychrome or desert jasper, this is going to be a reading, and we're going to save these little messages for right at the end for your guidance. We're going to look at tarot first. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have the Hangman. I'm actually going to fix him a little bit because he doesn't need to be that excessive. I'm just going to cut off a piece of this. Okay, so we have the Hangman. We have Judgment. We have the Queen of Swords. 6 of Wands. And also the Hermit. Okay. So the one thing that I'm kind of seeing here as a need to change in order to improve things, one of these things that I'm noticing is your perspective. Okay, your perspective, the way of thinking. There's also this need for introspection, reflection, taking some time to really look within the self. Okay, with that Chariot energy. I'm also feeling with Judgment, this can also be learning from your past. Okay, because Judgment is really about us looking to the past, the cycles that we've gone through, changing our perspective and the way that we think about things from the past, right? Maybe things that we've gone through, lessons that we've learned, being able to release things from the past, being able to make peace with it so that we can leave the past in the past and be able to kind of start fresh, start new perspective. Some of you, I feel like, with the Hangman, this can also be stagnancy. Okay, stagnancy, because the Hangman is an energy of stillness. Some of you may even be either a need for stillness or a need for breaking out of that. Maybe there's been too much non-action energy. Maybe if you are someone who kind of really has a tendency to isolate yourself from other people, or you've spent too much time being alone, not really interacting with others, or maybe just kind of like in this whole process of hibernation. It's like hibernation. So the Hermit is also this energy of healing, right? Really taking some time to look within the self. I want to make sure that all these cards are okay. Okay, so this one might need a little bit. But yeah, that is going to be that need for letting certain things from the past letting them go. Okay, so we have the water fairy here. We have the rattle. We also have the peacekeeper. It says, let go of the need to be right. Okay. Maybe this is being stubborn or feeling like we're always right. Like we're not open to learning anything. We're not open to maybe other people's opinions or advice. And we feel like we always need to be right. Right? We've also got the badger and the ginkgo with healing wounds. And we also have optimism here. Okay, so yeah, that to me is a lot of you changing perspective. Okay, changing your perspective on things, the way that you look at things. And that could even be, especially like, okay, what I'm seeing here too. You've got the Queen of Swords, and then you also have the water fairy with feelings and emotions, healing wounds. Some of you with the Queen of Swords energy here can be very guarded. Very guarded. And I want to say, because of the let go of the need to be right, I almost feel like some of you guys with the Queen of Swords energy here, although the Queen of Swords can be very intelligent and very honest, very straightforward, very direct in their communication. And, you know, the archetype of the Queen of Swords is one that is non-judgmental of others. But I almost feel like because you have optimism and let go of the need to be right, that you are almost kind of embodying the shadow aspect of the Queen of Swords. Okay? And so in order for you to really step into your power, let's just say as the Queen of Swords in the upright, there is healing and introspection that is required, because the Queen of Swords can sometimes come off as a little bossy, a little controlling, I feel like in her shadow, a little cold, detached, and there is a need for really opening up with the water fairy here with feelings and emotions, connecting with other people. It could even be holding more compassion towards others, learning to be more optimistic about things, right? And that could require for you to really work, and maybe this is something that is necessary with the Hermit, okay? Maybe it is time for stillness. It is time for reflection. It is time for introspection. The Six of Wands to me also, kind of looking at this energy here, because we have the need for healing wounds. It almost makes me feel like the Six of Wands too is kind of taking on the energy of ego. Okay? There is a need to kind of drop the ego, or drop the wall, the guard that you've got up. And to connect into more feelings, emotions, and kind of bringing about a balance between them. Because with the Queen of Swords, like I said, it can be a very, very a beautiful energy, right? The Queen of Swords embodies the energy of a very wise teacher, and someone who is, you know, gives great advice, excellent advice. However, she can, like I said, in her shadow aspect, come across as detached, as cold, as, you know, maybe even cruel at times, or the way, maybe have a very sharp tongue in responses, communication with other people, right? So yeah, peacekeeper here, it says let go of the need to be right, right? That could be avoiding conflict type of situations. And I feel like a lot of that is changing your perspective about things, because I feel like with this energy here for you, Pile 3, it's almost like because of the healing wounds and judgment, maybe you are someone, right, for some of you that is judgmental of others, or that can be a need for learning, like I said earlier, from your past, looking at your choices, your decisions that you've made, and what did you learn from them, right? For some of you, that judgment card is about holding on to a lot of things from the past. For some of you, it could be, you know, things like trauma, because we have healing the wounds here. It could be some really painful things that you've gone through. So at this time, it could be a need for nurturing, embracing your feelings and your emotions. And I feel like with the Queen of Swords energy, you could have been someone who's gone through a lot of painful things. And because of that, a result of that, we can become very guarded emotionally and become disconnected or detached from our heart space, from our emotions, right? We got so much kind of built up in there that we really do need that time to reflect in with the Hermit energy and, a meditative energy, spending some time. It could be really deep diving into inner child healing, shadow work, right? Recognizing those bits and pieces of ourselves that we need to work on. We can acknowledge, I am this way, or I am that way, or I get triggered when people say this to me, or, I'm not open to advice. I'm not open to listening to other people's opinions, right? Because we do have let go of the need to be right here, right? So sometimes maybe we're a little bit stubborn and we don't want to hear what another person has to say, or, we can feel like we are above other people with that Queen of Swords because we feel super smart. We feel so intelligent. And maybe the way that we talk and communicate with people could be detached, right? Where we're not connected into our heart space. So to me, this is going to be a need for you to really kind of create that balance between this intellectual, logical, rational side, but also bringing in this energy here with the water fairy, with your feelings, your emotions, paying attention to what your emotions and your feelings, where they're at, right? What are they indicating to you? Noticing, I feel like with the healing wounds here, if you're being triggered, right? If there are things that you need to heal from your past. And this is helping you to shift into more an energy of optimism, because no longer are you holding on to your baggage from the past, burdens, resentments, anger, frustrations, the way people have hurt you in the past, or maybe even for people being judgmental against you, right? Judging you. And so you may kind of put up a wall here towards other people. So yeah, the Hangman is huge. You have 3 major arcana here. The Hangman talking about a shift or change in perspective, a need for stillness, a need for reflection, a pause, right? With the Hangman. The Hangman is also a very spiritual energy of enlightenment. So when we're able to shift our perspective, we are able to have those epiphanies, those realizations, right? Where we feel like, I know what I'm doing. I always make the right choices, and I don't want anybody to tell me what to do, or I don't want anybody to tell me that they know something better than I do, right? So it's a need to kind of humble ourselves and to really be open to different perspectives, different ways of thinking about things, right? Because the Queen of Swords, she's all about knowledge. She's all about wisdom and being able to kind of stay objective about things, right? Instead of very subjective, where we're only thinking about our feelings, our heart, everything that's going on with us. And so to me, that's kind of where the ego comes in with the 6 of Wands, right? Where we can kind of get too much into the ego, and maybe that's a need for healing. What if we have a wounded ego, right? What if our ego gets wounded because we feel like, I know all the answers, right? I'm the Queen of Swords. I have all the answers. I don't need to hear what anybody else has to say. But this is Spirit saying here, with the let go of the need to be right, of being open to something that may need to be shared by other people that could really kind of help you or open things up, right? It doesn't mean that you have to take that person's advice, but it's being open to other perspectives. And not only feeling like we are always right, we always have the best answer, we always know what we're doing. Be open to something else, right? So for some of you, that Hermit could be a need for, to me, being more in tune with your own feelings, your own emotions, being able to process them, being able to understand them, being able to, for those of you that have a little bit of a wounded ego, where your ego gets wounded, right, because of maybe past things that you've gone through with the healing wounds here and judgment. What else am I seeing here? Yeah, changing perspective. Judgment is about releasing. Judgment is about a rebirth. It's about a renewal of self. It's about releasing the past so that you can be free from it, right? The Hermit energy is a time for reflection, introspection, seeking solitude, time alone spent, but time alone spent in a constructive way, meaning that you are getting in tune with your emotions, with your feelings, healing those wounds, learning to heal these things so that you can shift out of, for some of you, maybe even victim mentality, right? bringing about more peaceful type of energy that you can find within yourself by being able to balance out and face your own feelings and your emotions, right? So what do I want to clarify? I feel like these are the three major things here that Spirit is saying that you're needing to change in order to improve things is healing, releasing the past, changing and shifting perspective maybe about the past. And if you are, like I said, someone who really kind of isolates yourself from other people, it can even be learning to how to create more meaningful, or learning how to foster connections, relationships, friendships, family situations that are a lot healthier, right? Where we don't no longer feel like we have to just push everybody away, but we can really be open to people by being more in tune with their feelings and our emotions. Also, the Six of Wands is about victory. It's about success. It's about the drive and the passion that we have to continue to move forward. The Queen of Swords is about taking decisive action. It's about clear thinking, direction. The Queen of Swords is a visionary. She's a planner. She envisions what she wants. She sets her sights on it, focuses on it, and goes after it, right? So maybe for some of you, it can be a little bit of that time that you spend in solitude. Maybe let's just say you have a problem, you have a challenge in your life, and you're like, okay, well, how do I overcome this, right? Maybe that is solitude that you're really needing there, and maybe healing any wounds that are keeping you blocked from being able to have that clear mind that you really need to really help you to focus. If there is something underlying here that needs your attention, that you're wanting to heal, or you're aware of is still there that you need to heal, because that could be creating blockages for you as well, right? So that Six of Wands is victory. It's a success. It's achievement. It's, being able to recognize yourself, I feel like, for maybe the changes that you've already made in your life. And maybe things are not completely perfect with where you'd want them to be right now, but it is about you being open to taking action when it is necessary, when it's needed, right? And sometimes we need a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a break, so that we can say, okay, now I see what I need to do, right? I can choose to be more optimistic about things besides being perhaps pessimistic, right? So you have card number 43 here, which is the rattle. And I want to kind of read that message for you guys and see. This is from the Mystical Shaman Oracle. So let's see. Okay, so 43, it says, the rattle is the spirit caller, carrying the shaman's prayer to the four directions. The body of the rattle is like the earth spinning on its axis. With the aid of the rattle, the medicine woman instills a desired destiny in her future, closing with the prayer, Great Spirit, may your will be done. The rattle guides us to pray for all the earth, not just for our personal needs. When we offer our prayers for the highest good of all, everything we need is provided for us. So the invitation for this card says the rattle comes to invite you to work with the tools of spirit. But be careful. They are very sharp and can hurt you and others if they are not used mindfully. Set your tools aside and take up the drawing instruments of spirit. You are consciously stepping into partnership with the divine. This is the time for courageous deeds. Do not let your hesitation get in the way of your expression. Okay? So I know that, many of you don't use tools. Some of you may use tools in your spiritual practice, but even if it is that you are, say, focusing your intention for some type of change, that it is not something, I feel like, that is coming from, I almost feel like saying that the desire that you have for this change, to make sure that it's not coming from a place of ego, right? That you really are kind of working towards manifesting change in your life to improve upon things for the right reasons. Not just because, let's just say, I want to win the lottery because I want to be rich and never want to, I mean, that's all nice, right? We all would love to win the lottery. But we do it with the right intentions, right? We want something in our life, and to create and manifest this change in our life, to improve things in our life for the right reasons, right? So yeah, those of you that use spiritual little tools, feathers and amulets and crystals and different things like that in your spiritual practice. It's just all about you setting the intention from coming from the right place, right? I feel like is basically what Spirit's saying here. Not from a place of judgment or a place from, not really being, say, humble or, the energy of humility. I feel like are important things here. So really kind of finding this very balanced energy with the feelings and emotions of the water fairy, learning to trust your intuition, learning to be more in tune with your intuition, and creating that balance between the element of air with the Queen of Swords, the mind, the communication, improving upon the sharpness, the clarity. And then, I feel like with the healing wounds here and the feelings and the emotions, also getting those in check, right? Getting those under control. Especially when it involves other people here as well, your connections with other people, the way in which you think, you act, you speak. Also because we have this little owl here too. The owls are definitely a symbol of wisdom and intuition and being able to really look at things from a very, very clear headspace so that you are able to kind of make decisions and choices that are going to help you to improve and change things. So yeah, the huge thing that I'm seeing here for you, pile 3, is to the change in perspective. Okay, shifting into the spectrum of rational thought and rational thinking. And sometimes it could be that we are needing to really balance out, what is best for us based off of what our heart is saying to make changes versus what our logical, rational mind is saying. Because at any time, we can become unbalanced where we're making decisions, choices based off of our feelings and our emotions. And sometimes that can get us in trouble, right? We're making choices and decisions from a place of feelings and emotions, unhealed wounds, trauma, things that we're holding from our past, which can really skew our vision, right? So there is that need for you to really kind of deep dive into the self and spend that time that you are alone constructively, in that you are reflecting within any inner childhood wounds that need to be healed, or even certain shadow aspects of the self that are kind of making it difficult for you to be able to create the powerful change that you're really wanting to in your life, and bringing about, I feel like, a very balanced energy. Okay. So let's look at your last little messages here, your advice, your guidance. We have the Forest Walker, and it says, keep courage and be gentle. Okay, so to me, that being gentle is being gentle with yourself, maybe even being gentle, compassionate towards other people. Be open to exploring. Okay, be courageous, I feel like, in your effort to create the change that you're wanting to see. And then we have change here. It says, falling leaves do not signify the end, but the beginning of a fruitful season. Okay, so to me, this is also Spirit not wanting you to be afraid, right, of the change. Because if you're really wanting to create powerful change in your life, it does require, of course, doing things differently, stepping outside of your comfort zone. Sometimes we can feel very comfortable in the comfort zone, and it's hard for us to change our mindset. It's hard for us to change the way that we've always been. But if we're wanting to create some type of profound change within our life, we have to be open to doing things differently, different perspectives, right? And that is and does include what Spirit's saying here. Let go of the need to be right. We can't feel like we know all the answers, right? We have it all figured out. We don't. None of us do, right? None of us do. We're all kind of doing our own thing, our own paths, our own journey. And certainly, if you see someone or meet someone or have connections to someone who's a little further along in their journey, or even a little bit, steps behind you, that we can be open to receiving, right, messages in whichever way Spirit is communicating with us through that, and just be open to it, right? Because that's the Queen of Swords. That's the embodiment of the Queen of Swords energy. She is literally like Lady Justice, right? The very Libra energy. So that is about us being open, objective about all the details, all the information, so that we can make the best decision that we can make for ourselves, right? You may have one family member who's giving you this little bit of advice, another family member who's giving you that little bit of advice, a friend. Take it all in, what fits, what feels right. now we can kind of make a decision by also learning what our own intuition is telling us, what our own inner voice, our own inner compass is finding, right? Those of you that may even feel a little bit lost with that Hermit energy, and you feel like, I don't even know where I'm going, what to do, what to change, what to shift. The only way out is through with the Hermit energy, right? There is no shortcuts. There is no, there's no shortcuts with it, right? You can't skip along. You can't skip levels with your path, right? Sometimes if we're going through a challenging time, there's a reason for it. There's something that we're meant to learn in that. So that's where I'm saying with the Hermit energy, take that time to kind of take things in or spending that time alone in reflection in a constructive way, right? Where we're actually doing the work. We're open to doing the work within ourselves. Okay? So I'm going to leave this here for you, pile number 3. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next reading.